I'm gonna go straight into talking about how we sabotage um, our goals or us from achieving our goals. And it's what we call self-sabotaging behavior that might be keeping you and me from achieving our goals. And so I want to say a few things, maybe two or three things. The first one is nobody is excluded from self-sabotaging. Everybody that's listening to my voice, including myself, um, could be guilty of one or two of the things that will mention that we do that sits in the space of self-sabotaging. Okay, so even if everything appears fine from the outside, um, you the high probability that you and I are exercising one of these behaviors is very high. So, and then the other one that we have to understand is that you most probably won't just fall into one category depending on your situation. So you might be able to identify with one or two or three of them or a combination of these things. For instance, you might be a procrastinator at work and not at home, but you might be an overthinker at home and not at work, or you might be in both spaces. Um, and so the first thing is don't feel like you need to force yourself into just one category. Okay, and uh, and I'm going to try and open up space towards the end for comments or questions. Um, and the safest way to say, I'm just asking for a friend. Um, I see my friend is doing this. What should my friend be doing? And okay, so safe way is just asking for a friend. So we find that there are 9 types of self sabotaging behaviors that might be keeping you from achieving your goal. Now, the easiest way is, and the best way to do this is to write these things. There are 3 categories, and in each one of these 3 categories, there are 3 behaviors. So the first category is that of where you find those who create self-fulfilling prophecies. What does that mean? A basic definition of that is, let's say you study for an exam, but your past results states that you're not doing well. Let's say you get 50% in most of your exams on average, but there's another one coming up. So what you do is you say to yourself, I was probably going to get 50% again. Um, Let me just decline there. I was probably going to get 50% again. And so why study hard? So I'll just study at the 50% effort. And then you write the exam and then you get 50%. And then you confirm the fact, you see, I'm only worth 50%. So you predicted 50%, you studied accordingly, and then you you continue in this cycle instead of saying, if I put in more effort, I'm going to get more. That's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And there are other definitions of that as well. The second category is that those of us who remove positive things from our lives. So when we think of achieving our goal, we are almost intentional about removing all the positive resources so that when we don't achieve our goal, we then end up saying, well, I didn't have all the resources to achieve my goal. So we actually intentionally remove them. And then the third category is those who lower their self worth. I'm not good enough. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen to someone else. Everybody's winning the lottery. Well, my friend wins the lottery every year, once a year. And you know why your friend wins the lottery every year is because they play the lottery every day. And why we're not winning it is because we never enter the lottery. Okay. And again, I'm not condoning lottery, but we lower our self worth. Not going to happen to me. Okay. So those are the three categories: those who create self-fulfilling prophecies, those who remove positive things from their lives, and those who lower their self-worth. So under the first category, I'm just going to mention these because I'm more interested in your thoughts around this. So under the first one, those who create self-fulfilling prophecies, there are three things. The procrastinator is the first one, the one who constantly put things off, waiting till the last possible minute. And you will always hear these people say, I function well under pressure. Okay. So that's the procrastinator. Then you get the overthinker, overthinks everything. They think everything to death. If it can't die because of my thinking, then it's not worth it. So we think, we over process, we over prepare. And sometimes you do that if you go into another meeting with somebody. You over prepare. Could happen in an interview. And then you ask yourself, why didn't I get the job? It's because you're over prepared and you came across as arrogant instead of just, this is all I need to know, and I will just respond to questions. And then the third one in this category is the assumer. This is the person who always predicts the future and acting on those predictions before seeing if they come true. And in most cases, it's most probably not going to work out. And so I assume that and I act accordingly. Okay. I want to talk really about how to overcome these. The first step is try and identify with one of these or some of these. And yeah, and if you want to make a comment afterwards, just remember I'm asking for a friend. So the second category is those who remove positive things from their lives. The first one is the avoider. Okay. It's the person who says, don't stress me out. Don't put pressure on me. I just heard that twice today. Um, they keep themselves away. That causes them anxiety and things that pushes them out of their comfort zone. That's the avoider. Then the self-protector. Um, they always keep their guard up because they believe an attack could be coming around the corner. And you know people like that. They're always defensive. You say something innocently, and they fight back as if you attack them. So they protect themselves. Then you get the control freak. Um, um, these are the ones that are always prepared. So that falls into the second category. And then the third category, um, those who lower their self-worth. The first one in this category is the overindulger, right? This is the person who turn a little thing into a big thing. And they also tend to see things as black and white. So the overindulger is uh, something that could be small, a small little task towards their goal. They put a lot of effort into it. They make it a big thing. And the reason why they do it is when they do not achieve their goal, they say, yeah, but I needed to put a lot of effort into making this happen. Then the second one in this category is that of the self-critic, always criticizing themselves, constantly analyzing their own behavior and beating themselves up. And they tend to ignore evidence that tells them they are actually um, good people and that they can add value. And then the last one, the perfectionist. Um, so this person has an ideal in mind, the perfect picture for everything in mind. They always have a high standard that they're trying to meet and they live up to. So yeah, so three categories, guys. Um, and in each one of them, there are three things: those who create self-fulfilled prophecies, those who remove positive things from their lives, and those who lower their self-worth. And that's it. Very happy to hear from you guys.
Alistair, thank you first of all for just reminding us that that we all uh, or guilty, or we all fall into this trap sometimes. um, I was looking at these different categories, and I was feeling like there's a part of me in all of them.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, I think that is probably also true. But I think I'm probably one of the guys who overthink things, or yeah, I spend a lot of time thinking over, and maybe also procrastinating. I don't know if those things, or if those two are tied, but I do overthink a lot. Yeah, and so I do understand exactly what you are saying. So yeah, just a comment from me. But I did like feel like all of these things have some kind of or I'm or I find myself, or I see myself in all of these three categories as
Yeah.
well.
Thank you, Kevin. And again, the question,
Okay.
Kevin, is how's that working for you?
Sorry.
So always the question is, so if you overthink and you procrastinate, how's that working for you? Remembering you're asking for a friend.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Okay. I'm asking for a friend.
So how do you
um.
see it working for your friend that he overthinks and procrastinates?
Yeah. You just need like a kick in the butt sometimes. Okay. Stop overthinking it. Just go out and do it, or sometimes you just need to go for it. Sometimes you need to realize that procrastinating is just gonna delay what you need to do anyway. So
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what they've discovered is is that when there's an internal jobs opening in companies, and they compared men and males and females in applying for the job. So males apply when they're only 70% ready. Females apply on average if they're 100% ready. And so that's another conversation about men being overconfident and females thinking that they need to do more to qualify. So So what could happen is that females overthink it because they're comparing to a norm that may probably sits in the male space. Now, I'm very clear about that. That's not on for me. That there's that disparity. But we have to explore why that happens. Thank you, Kevin. Anyone else? Just simply wave and I will let you in. Okay, Carlo?
Wow. Thanks a lot for the awareness, man. This is really an amazing session where it's really opening my eyes because I'm finding myself in a loop of self sabotage, of being in a loop of self sabotage, in a slump, trying to pull myself out. And I've realized, I just had this realization. It's more because of overthinking. Like you know me, I think overthink things. I think deep, and also perfectionist because I want things to be structural and order and things like that. And then within that, eventually leads to procrastination as well. And then in that procrastination leads to the self critic. And then that self critic leads to actually taking good stuff away. And it's just like, that domino effect. So it's certainly a problem to solve. Certainly a problem to solve. One of the things I have been trying is that gratitude, that forgiveness and gratitude, right? Gratitude for the small steps, and then also I've developed this thing of 5 4 3 2 1 and decide, do. I think that's also helping me a lot, and I'm looking forward to some more insight into how to grow from this.
Yeah. Thank you, Carlo. And gratitude is a good thing for who I am and what I can
Hmm.
offer. Gratitude is also I'm grateful for the resources that surrounds me in order to achieve my
Hmm.
goal. And a good discipline is to have an attitude or a attitude of gratitude or a season of gratitude where on a regular basis you start listing everything that you have um,
Hmm.
to support you towards. And believe me, all of us have everything that we need to achieve our goals. We are actually wired and equipped to achieve our goals.
Mm.
Those,
The gratitude
yeah,
list.
the gratitude list.
Exceptional.
Okay. And how has that been working for you, counting down?
It's actually working quite nice though. It's very exciting because it's like it's also something I'm practicing is living more intuitively, living
Mm.
from the gut. Because I say that the gut is like this amazing divine intelligence over there. So when you have a clear vision, clear purpose, and a clear value system, I mean 5 4 3 2 1 gut decision. That's it. Gut decisions is very powerful, and I'm finding amazingness within it, though more fulfillment also, because then a person's actually really deciding on purpose too, and it
Mm.
also it makes you vulnerable, like okay with imperfection, because you know that even if I made the wrong decision, at least I can come back and I've learned and I can improve the system and things like that. So it was very nice though to suppose that courage, that courage muscle, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I've written down here being okay with imperfection. Thank you for sharing. I see Claudine has something to say, so let me just tap her in. Thank you so much
All
for
good.
sharing, Carlo. Hi, Claudine.
Hi, Empower everyone. I think I'm doing some overthinking right now. uh yeah, no, I need to sit and look at this list. See, I suppose that's the overthinker now.
Mm,
Um I think that the example that Al made about the men being ready 100% and women being ready 70% to apply for an interview. I think that in certain areas, I find that I need to dial up 100%. So, for example, when I'm busy writing a piece that I'm going to put on a public platform, I will dial up 100%. But I think that I don't have, how can I say, I think I'm trying to dial up 100% on all things, which is not really the way to do it. So, yeah, so I think with this list, it's just being mindful in of those things and managing it accordingly.
that's so true. And there's, with that, what Alistair said, I also read a quote that said, men have no issue promoting themselves, even if it's something they didn't create, and women will literally hold back on promoting themselves. And I think it just comes like we just want to be perfect. We want to make sure that it's gonna work out 100%. So I think we all go through that. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
And reminding us to also be intentional as well. Okay, well, I did write some of them down so we can maybe do a quick recap and of the three categories. So he said in the first category we've got self-fulfilling prophecies. And I literally, when I read that, I thought, when we speak something, it happens because it turns into our thoughts and then that measures down to our behavior. And in there, we have the procrastinator, the overthinker, and the assumer. And in the second category, we've got removing happiness. Um, and that is when I feel like we want to enjoy what we've achieved at the end instead of enjoying the process. And then we've got the low self worth. And there's the overindulger, the person who thinks life works in black and white, which it doesn't. The self critic, the perfectionist.
But let me leave you with three tips. Okay, very quick. And remember, it's not as easy as this. So, in terms of the first set, what you can do, but remember last week we spoke, Jacques, am I doing justice to this? And the answer is no, not because you're not doing a good job with this part, but it's because there's so much more to add into this. The first advice to the best way to change the pattern of creating self-fulfilling prophecies or dealing with the first three is to respond with something called the opposite action. So if you if you procrastinate, instead of waiting too long, do it immediately. If you overthink, underthink. If you assume, cancel your assumptions and go with what is the reality. So the first quick way to look at this is respond with the opposite action of the first three. When it comes to the next three, which is about those who remove positive things from their lives, um, so instead of being a control freak and self-protector, and the avoider is to go through what we call systematic desensitization. In other words, expose yourself to the fears that you have. So if you fear a spider, you're never going to get over it unless you face a spider in a safe way and in an increasing way. So um, the way to deal with the second set is to face your fears through systematic desensitization. The way to deal with the last three, which is about lower self-worth, um, is to, and the best way to conquer this is to building your confidence. And as Carlos says, create a list of what you think is good about and wonderful and special and unique about you. And look at that list daily. Now be careful of becoming arrogant, but look at that list daily, because going through that list, you will begin to realize how much you can add and how much you can offer. So instead of self-criticizing and being a perfectionist because you want to get it right and overindulging, look at the things that you are, that's unique about you. And I'm sure these things will be the beginning of a different way of you achieving your goals, right? As we say, the conversation we're having is about one thing: my life, my business. I wish I was here. It is about being present in your life, being present in your business, by giving yourself the best opportunity to be present in both. We pray all of you go well, and please come back next week. And we always, you don't have to ask permission to bring somebody along. Just invite them. Um, Tell them to download the app, the Clubhouse app, and they are free to join us. I wish everybody well and keep well.